Hi, how are you? I'm doing some final testing before starting this webinar. I want to check if the sound is good, and I'm trying to log in from my phone. Okay, so I can also see if anyone has a question or something. Okay, I think this is the one. Okay, I think I'm going to start in like 1 minute. Okay, I think I'm going to start. Okay, now the sound is good. So okay. So, well, I think it's a good timing to start. Okay, it's 1 minute after the scheduled time. Okay, so let's start. So I'm super excited today because I'm going to talk about one of the new products we launched at Dojo. Well, we launched it like 3 weeks ago, but I mean we haven't talked too much about this product, but it's super useful in case you have a website. If your company has a website, you might need to use Codoozer-Flow. Or if you are a website developer and you create websites for your customers, with Codoozer-Flow, you can add a lot of functionality to your website so that you can give them a dashboard so that they can edit some content from the website, or they can like show pop-ups and things like that. Okay, so this is super powerful. Okay, so I'm going to talk about that. Well, Codoozer is a software builder. Okay, but there's one feature of Codoozer which is only for creating these kind of things on your website. Okay, so well, I'm going to give you some examples. Well, if you sign up for this webinar, I'm sorry, this page is in Spanish, I don't know why. Okay, but you saw that, let me check, that the URL was like this. Okay, and you saw this pop-up coming here where you could put the email address, and after adding your email, there was another window, things like, okay. So this is a flow. This is basically a flow. And today I'm going to show you, to explain you how you can put this in your website. So basically you are going to ask your developers to put 2 lines of code in your website. And after that, you are going to be able to design these kind of boxes on your website without asking them anymore. Okay, so this is super useful in case you want to announce something in your website. For example, in my past experience, well, I'm the co-founder of MovingCube also. Well, it's another startup. There were a lot of situations when I wanted to post some coupon code or some announcement in the website, and then I had to ask my developers. So it could take like 1 day or hours, and I mean they had to stop doing what they were doing. So, well, there were a lot of times that I stopped doing these kind of promotions because I didn't want to bother my programmers. Okay, so well, with Codoozer-Flows, now we are using it on MovingCube, also in Codoozer, and then I have the power, without bothering our programmers, to start adding coupons or surveys or widgets or these kind of things. Okay, so it's going to be super useful. Okay, so in this webinar, I want to explain how you can integrate it in your website and how you can start editing your flows, okay, from Codoozer. Okay, so you have to create an account on Codoozer. Well, I have one already, so I think, well, I think I'm going to use my account. Okay, let me try to, well, By the way, this is free. You can use CodoozerFlow for free. Okay, in case you do it for free, there will be a small button on the bottom that will say that powered by Codoozer. Okay, but if that doesn't bother you, you can use it for free. Okay, then in case you just want to remove that watermark, then you can have a $10 subscription, something like that. So it's super cheap. Okay, so well, let me try to change my language. Oh, it's in English. Then it's a browser thing. Okay. I think I have to switch my configuration. Okay, let me one moment. I don't know where the language selection is. Okay, well, anyway, I mean, only this is in Spanish. I'm sorry for that, but the rest is going to be English all the time. Okay, so basically I'm going to start a new project. So if you have other thing on the screen, you can click this plus button here on the left and then enter a name for the project, like my webinar flow, for example, and today is 20th. Then select here the project type, which is going to be flow. Well, with Codoozer, you can create Android apps or iOS apps and landing websites as well. Okay, but today we are going to create a flow. So select flow and then create project. So, well, here's our interface. Well, for new users, it might be scary at the beginning, because I mean, we prefer not to use super visual interfaces, because, well, they are nice and they look easier at the beginning, but once you get used to this, it's going to be much faster. Okay, believe me. So, well, let me explain before starting. Let me explain a bit of how the interface works. Okay, so basically you have three parts. You have this sidebar here, the green one. This is the Dojo bar. Okay, so Dojo is the brand that has some products. Okay, one of them is Codoozer, the one that we are using right now. Okay, but then there are some other products like Castod.io, which is a cloud storage solution. Then we have a video editor, some other products. Okay, so Dojo is the brand, and this is the Dojo brand. So the Dojo bar, sorry. So here, from here on the top left corner, you have some icons to manage your account, your Dojo account, and then here on the top you have some buttons to play or to manage your projects in Codoozer. Okay, then you have this gray area, which is your files, your projects files. Okay, here you have some files and folders. And then you have the work area here. The white space is where you are going to edit your projects. Okay, so for creating a flow, well, we created it, but now we have to publish it. I'm going to integrate it in our website. So yeah, after publishing, you will get here, you select app, you will get this hash code. So we are going to put that in our website. Okay, and this is going to be the most technical thing that we are going to do. Okay, normally you will ask your programmers, in case you are not a programmer, you will ask your programmers to do this, but it's super basic. So you can go to Google and look for npm, and then click on this first link, and here you can search for Codoozer, and here's our library. Okay, so scroll down, and here you have the integration instructions. Okay, so, well, it depends. I mean, this works with almost any website, but you know that there are different types of websites. There are websites built with WordPress, Wix, and those kind of companies. Then there are like classic websites where you have all the HTML files, and then you have React projects. Okay, so, well, here you have two options for installing it. The first one, the npm, this is for React websites. Okay, so I mean, if you give this link to your programmers, they will know how to do it. Okay, but today I'm going to use this example. This is for plain HTML websites or WordPress websites. So take these two lines of codes Okay, and well, here's my website, by the way. Well, I have this is a template, a basic website. Okay, so I'm going to use this as an example. So here's the code of this website. I'm going to take those 2 lines of code and I'm going to paste them here. Okay, and I'm almost done. Then you will find 2 extra lines here. Go back to your website, and any place on the body you can just put this script, then paste these 2 lines, and then again with a slash script. Okay, and now we're ready. No, we're not ready. You see this word hash here? You have to paste this code, the one you got from Codoozer. Oh, sorry, where is it? Okay, put it here, and then you can publish this file, upload. Okay, so now my website is ready. Okay, now I can post anything on my website without asking my programmers. Okay, so what we have done right now is the only technical thing. Okay, so now I can go to Codoozer and I can start adding content to my website, okay, without touching the code of my website anymore. So, well, today I'm going to do some basic things. Okay, basically I'm going to start putting some white dialog on the middle of my website. So, well, here you can go to flows, and well, you have by default, when you create a default project, you have this file, the app file, which contains the basic configuration of your project, your flows. And then you have this folder which contains all the flows. Basically, a flow is a sequence of steps. Okay, you can have one flow with 1 step, or you can have one flow with like 10 steps, or how many steps as you want. Okay, some steps are like boxes. They can be transparent, they can be, I mean, different shapes. Okay, that's up to you. But by default, we are going to start creating our first flow, which is this one, main flow. You can create more, but this is the default one, and it has a default step. Okay, when you start with a default project, it has this basic step. Okay, then here in the app folder, you have these events. Okay, so an event is something that happens in your website. Okay, so when after you put these 2 lines of code in your website, you will load the website, and then it will download your file, your project, your Codoozer-Flows project. Okay, and once it's downloaded, your website will be ready to start putting content on the screen. Okay, so when it's ready, then this event is going to be called. Okay, so you have this event called onReady. This means that when the website is ready to start showing flows, then do something. Okay, and how do we tell our library how to do something? Well, we have functions. Okay, so whenever you see these events, you can start adding functions. Okay, so by default, when you create a default project, you have one function added to your default project which says go to. Okay, this is the function go to and the step hello. Okay, let's go back to main flow, and you see hello. This is the name of my step. Okay, the one that I created, I mean the default project came with. Okay, the hello step. So when the library is ready, it will go to the step called hello. Okay, so now you can publish it, go to the website and reload the website. You see? So this is my first step. Okay, and let's see what it has here. Well, you see a transparent dark background, and I cannot click. Oh yeah, I can click, and I have this button. Let's see our dialog. Okay, and try to analyze. Well, we have an ID. This is the name of our step. Then we have a text in 2 languages. We have it in default language, which normally it's for English, and then you can add more languages. Okay, then you have the title. This is optional, you can remove it by clicking here, and also we have it in 2 languages. Then we have this property called closable. Okay, remember that if I refresh my page, I had this close button here. So if I remove this option and I publish again, it takes 2 seconds to be published. Okay, if I refresh my website, then I don't have the close button. Okay, so I cannot close my step. Okay, or well, I can close it, but adding other buttons or adding content which is clickable, things like that. Okay, I'm going to do that right now. So, well, you can remove the title, for example. No, this is not the index. Let me refresh. Okay, you see now I don't have the title. You can change the style of this box. You can add styling. Click here and then style. Then inside style you can add like width in case you want to make it bigger, like 600. Well, by the way, here on the right you have a preview. Okay, then go back. Now my box is bigger. Okay, you can also add content, not only one text, and instead of this text you could add content. So click here and start adding content. You could add, for example, images. You can add input text so that people can write. You can add list of items. You can add a PDF viewer. You can add a text. You can add a video, or you can add a website. Okay, so this is super useful in case you want to add widgets. For example, if you want to make some online booking, or if you are doing some live support, for example, and you want people to book some sessions with you, then you can add, for example, calendly.com inside your website. Okay, we can do that later. Or you can add a YouTube video. Okay, if you go to, I think I have it here. Okay, see, I have this flow here with the webinar, so you can put your webinars, live webinars or live videos in your website, okay, when you are transmitting. Okay, so yeah, let's just start with a text, for example, and let's remove the old one. So we can add like hello world. Okay, if it's only one text, you can use the text here. Okay, but if you want to add some styling to the text, then you should add a text component, for example, instructions. Okay, so imagine that you want to make this text bigger. You have some options here, like the font size. You can use like 32, for example. Okay, you publish now, and in 2 seconds it's ready on your website. Okay, you see now it's bigger. Or let's imagine that you want to use an image. You can click add. You see that, well, you see that I'm always adding it inside content. Just click here, then select image, and well, it comes with a default image, but let me show you how to add an image. For example, let's go to Unsplash, for example, .com. Doc. Okay, let's get this image, for example. Go back to Codoozer, and you can just drag and drop your image here anywhere in the dashboard. And now let me close one. Remove this, and now you have the option here, the one we just dropped. Okay, you see, I can post anything in my website in seconds. Or you could do something like well, you can add a website. For example, let's see, let's imagine that this is like a reservation thing. Okay, so I could do something like clone. I just made a copy of this text. This copy is going to be smaller, like 16. I can add some text. Do you want to book an appointment for your dog, for example? Okay, let's publish again. Oh, did I publish it? Okay, yeah, now. Okay, you see that you can add content, and we could add some buttons here. For example, outside the content, we could add buttons for my dialog. For example, one button that says, not here, sorry, not this one. You can add buttons, then one button that says yes, and another button that says no. Okay, if I publish, 1, 2, 3, it's ready. Okay, I have these two buttons, but they don't do anything right now, only close the dialog. So let's add some action. So for example, imagine that I want to create some form so that they can book an appointment. Okay, I'm going to create a new step, like booking, for example. I'm not going to use text. I just want to add some content and a website. For example, I'm going to call it Calendly. So, well, I have a Calendly account. You can use it for free for one event. So I have this URL. I'm going to paste it here as URL, and then add some styling to this step, like width 600 and height, let's say 600 also, for example. And I could do this closable. Okay, so now I have this second step. So I'm going to link my first step with the second step. So if they click on the button that says yes, here you see this event. Normally when a property starts with on, this means that this is an event. So I can decide which actions I want to take. So on click, I want to, instead of this default function, I want to remove this one, and I will say go to and select booking. Okay, and for the other one that says no, instead of next, I'm going to add finished. Okay, so my flow is finished. Let's publish again and refresh my screen. Okay, so if I click no, it will finish, and if I click yes, it will go to the second step. Okay, now it's loading the URL. I think my internet connection is not good here. Well, sometimes Calendly doesn't work really good inside frames, but this should work. Let me check. Okay, maybe it's because of the size. Okay, let me check. Yeah, when you use, sorry for that. When you use a website, you have to not only give a width and a height to the dialog, to the white box, but also to the web component. These are called components. So I'm going to use here as well 600 and 600 and publish again. Yes, here's my, well, you have to adjust the size of the component. Okay, but then I can select a date and pick my time and confirm. Okay, in order to make a reservation. Okay, so this is, I mean, you can use it for Calendly. You can put forms like with type form. I mean, there are a lot of websites that provide tools in HTML format. Then you can use it here inside a widget. Okay. So what else we got? Well, you can also have some. You can add some logic. I mean, we're not going to do that today, but you can remember selections. If the user clicks on yes, you can remember that tomorrow. So if they come to the website again, you can avoid the dialog to pop up, for example. Okay, so if they already sign up, then you don't need them to sign up again. Okay, you can do that. You can integrate with Firebase. You can store on Firebase data from your users or user selections, things like that. It's super powerful. Okay, we will talk about that next week. Okay, then let's talk about also positioning of my dialogues. Okay, what if you don't want this to be on the middle? Okay, so you can also change this. For example, imagine this booking dialog. Instead of here, let's say, let's do it. Let's say we want this dialog on the right side. You can use this inside style. You can use H-align and B-align for horizontal and vertical. So H-align and refresh. Now click on yes, and it goes to the right. You see? Well, then you see that we had some padding here, some borders. You can remove those. By default, our step has some padding, but we can remove that. Here in style, we can add a padding of 0. By default, it has 24, but if you do this, well, sorry, I didn't refresh. Okay, now I did it too fast. Okay, I said 2 seconds, sometimes it's 3. Okay, but you see now I don't have this padding. Or, well, I could remove this closable and add just a button on the bottom, like back, and the on click could be go to hello. Okay, so if I click on back, it will go to the previous one. Okay, you see that it's super easy to, I mean, even not programmers can use this in order to post anything. Okay, you can also make tutorials. I mean, now we are just positioning this box on the screen. I mean, we are aligning it horizontally and vertically, but we could link this dialog to some elements in our website, and that's super powerful. Okay, because you can create step-by-step tutorials and guide your visitors and explain how your website works. It's super easy. Okay, so let's see. For example, this hello component or step, we can add a target. So the target is something in a website that is going to be linked to our step. Okay, and well, this is going to be a bit more technical right now, but you see it's going to be super easy. So if you have a website, you can click on the right button anywhere, for example here, and say inspector. Okay, so here you have the code of your website. Okay, and well, you don't need to be a programmer, but you see that there, I mean, everything has these tags with these less than and more than symbols. Okay, so some of them have an ID. You see? So you can make your dialog, your step, be next to some element that has an ID. For example, this wrapper is everything, or you can use this here, or maybe, yeah, let's use this section. Okay, this section has an ID called banner. So I'm going to go back to Codoozer, and here on the target on selector, since it's an ID, I'm going to use the hashtag symbol and then the name of the ID. Publish. Okay, now you see that this, I mean, the banner was too big, so it's too big. So, but you see this white thing, then the yellow thing, okay, and it's in the middle because there's no space. But if you scroll down, you see this arrow that says that it's aiming something that is on the top. Okay, so let's pick something smaller. Let me close this. Okay, so we are here in this ID. So if you want to point something that is inside, you see that this section has some content inside. Okay, for example, it has this div, which is smaller. Okay, you can use this. I mean, sorry, we have a div. We have section with ID banner, and then we have a div. Then we could do this from my banner ID, then use this more than, and then div. It says this is a child element. So now my box is only targeting this child element. Okay, and I can go deeper. Instead of div, I could go to header or div. Yeah, I could go to header, then h1. Yeah, it's maybe too big. Or header content, then this paragraph. Okay, so I have section ID banner, then I have this div, and inside this div I have a header and a div. So I'm going to go to the div again, div, and then this p. If I don't use the hashtag symbol, then it's only the name of the tag. Okay. Refresh. Okay, now you see that it's targeting only this text. Okay, so with this technique, you can make everything go from one point to another in your website, and you can start creating tutorials. Okay, in order to explain how this works. I mean, this button, what is this button for? Or, I mean, you can make a full guide through tutorial in your website with these techniques. Okay. Well, you can do much more than this. This is only a preview of what you can do. You can do a lot of things. You can add logic, as I said. You can remember things, remember selections. You can track analytic events from your flows. Okay, you can add Firebase integration so that you can remember things in the future, or you can store things in the website. You can ask the user for entering some text, and you can save that text in the website. Okay, we will talk about that next week. Okay, but for today I also wanted to explain how you can launch your flows. Okay, by default we had this event here on app, the event onReady. And then we have this function, go to step hello. Okay, this will open, I mean, these flows are open always in layers. They are like layers over your website, and you can have more than one flow at the same time. So for example, let's create another flow called second flow, and we could have, well, this is the title, it's not really important. We could have one step that can be, for example, widget without text. I want to add some image, well, add content, then image, and I think I have this animated GIF, so I'm going to use it. You see? and I want to have a width of maybe, well, it can be 100%. This means that it will take the whole available space. And if you have one width defined and then height wrap, this means that it's going to keep the aspect ratio. So let's add some styling to my whole step with, let's say, 128 and 128, for example. And I'm going to put this on the bottom and on the left, for example. Okay, so this is my widget step. So here I could do this. I could launch 2 different flows. Okay, but if I want to, I mean, if you do 2 go-to functions in the same sequence of functions, only the second one will make sense. Okay, let's publish and see this. No, let's refresh again, sorry. Okay, you see that only the second one is being displayed. Okay, what if you want to show both of them? Then you have to create like a new layer. So for the second go-to, you should put this new layer option and say true. So publish again, refresh, and now I have 2 layers. Okay, so I can have content in the first layer, and I mean, you see that I can navigate through a flow and have the other flow on the screen. Okay, so I can make different paths for each one. Okay, but the first one has this background, which is darkened background. I could remove that. Okay, by default, all the flows have this dark background, so I could put a background in my flow and use color.transparent. Also, I could do this for the first one. Okay. You see? I can use both. And we could also add some logic here. Okay, now every time I load my website, I'm doing both things. Okay, the first thing go to hello, and the second thing go to widget. But I could show my flows only if some condition is done. Okay, so for a function, you can create this if parameter, and here you can have a condition. Okay, so imagine, for example, if you go to our flows landing page, you see that if I just put this, I don't see my flow. But if I use the webinar hashtag, okay, then I have my flow here. You can accomplish that like this. So go to widget only if add, then window, location, and then you can use hash only if the hash is something, or you can use the whole URL or the host name, these kind of things. Okay, so if I use hash and the hash is for example test or widget, okay, only if the URL has a hash and it's widget, only in that case go to widget. Okay, so I'm going to load my website without the hash, and you see that now it doesn't load the widget. But if I put here widget, you see now I have my 2 flows. Okay, this is super useful in case you are doing some campaigns and you want to display something after they click on your Facebook site or after in some advertisement and they go to your landing, and maybe you want to create a sign-in form, things like that. Okay, this is super useful. And also this is super useful in case you want to do some testing in your website, but without your users being able to load the flows that you are editing. Okay, because if you are doing some testing, okay, you don't want your users to know that you are testing. You can test in your website live, adding some hashtag that they don't know. Okay, yeah, and, well, you can do much more logic than this. Okay, we just compared this, but you can check if some value is stored on Firebase, for example, then do this, or if some cookie has this value, then do that. Okay, you can do things like that. Okay, but that logic is I'm going to talk about that logic next week. Okay, I think, well, today I just wanted to give you a quick overview of the things you can create with Codoozer-Flows. Okay, it's super powerful, believe me. We are using it. For example, we used it on MovingCube, and well, we put it on MovingCube like 2 weeks ago, and because of our flows, okay, we increased our sales by 50%. Okay, only in from the first day. It was amazing because this allowed us to change coupons in real time every day, add new coupons, things like that. Okay, and with that we have increased sales by, we doubled our sales. Okay, only with a flow. Okay, so flows can help you increase the conversion in your website. It can help your customers to understand your product. It can help you announce things. For example, if you are going to close the website for maintenance the next day, you can put a banner in your website with Codoozer-Flows. Okay, and you don't need to ask your programmers because they might be super busy doing your product. Okay, so you can do these kind of things in your website. Okay, yeah, so basically this is what I wanted to talk about today. Next week we will go deeper. We will do some more complex flows so people can enter data, and we can save that data, and we can save it for later, things like that. Okay, I will talk about that next week. Okay, and for finishing today's webinar, I guess most of you are asking if this is going to be cheap or expensive. And the thing is that it's going to be super cheap as free. Okay, you can use Codoozer-Flow for free. In case you do it for free, you know that you will see this powered by Codoozer. Okay, normally, there are a lot of websites that use widgets for support, for chats, for bots. Normally, they always have this, so people are used to it, so that shouldn't bother you. Okay, but in case you want to remove it, then it's only $12 a month. Okay, it's super cheap. Okay, and with $12 a month, you can do whatever you want in your website. Okay, because you are going to save a lot of time and you are going to increase sales. Okay, but well, since this is new, even if you want to remove that, we are more than happy to help you integrate your flows. Okay, if you are a web developer and you create websites for your customers and you want to do some testing in a real website, please contact us. You can contact us here on this, let me write it here, support@dojo.email. Okay, and send us an email and we can help you integrate Codoozer-Flows, and we will be happy to give you live support, so we can help you at the beginning with the design and things like that. Okay, and also if you want to remove the watermark, okay, we can make super big discounts. Okay, you don't even have to pay $12 a month. Okay, talk with us and we can give you a coupon. Okay, so it's going to be cheaper for your first integrations. Okay, so well, I think that's all for today. I just wanted to give you a short preview of things that you can do. Okay, but again, you can do much more than this. Okay, this is only a small detail. If you log in on MovingCube on Codoozer, you will see, for example, if you click here on the help menu, this opens a flow. Okay, this is a flow. I mean, we are doing our own help widgets with Codoozer-Flows. Okay, so we are our first users. Okay, so here, for example, we have a step-by-step, some explanation. Okay, I think I had here. Oh no, I don't have here the step-by-step thing. But getting started, yeah, this is getting started. Okay, you see that it's going to take me to each button. Okay, you can do these kind of things in your website, super easy. Okay, basically with the things we learned today, you can do this in your website, and at any point I can close it. Okay, you can go to contact support, or you can go to our another website in another tab. Okay, you can do these with functions. Okay, so believe me, if you have a website, you are going to need Codoozer-Flows. Okay, because it's going to help you be much more dynamic and move the content and create different content from your users, communicate with them, and make them more loyal to your website. Okay, so well, that's all for today. If you have any questions, please send us an email to support@dojo.email, and we will be more than happy to help you. Okay, so well, see you in the next week. Bye.